Welcome to Hindustan Times Digital. My name is Aditya, and in this video we are going to talk about the top camera features of the Vivo S1 Pro smartphone. This phone comes with quad rear camera setup, front 32 megapixel selfie camera, and a host of AI-centric features that you should definitely check out. So let's get started with the top features of the Vivo S1 Pro smartphone's camera. So the Vivo S1 Pro comes with a quad rear camera setup. This includes a 48 megapixel primary sensor, 8 megapixel ultra wide, 2 megapixel depth sensor, and a 2 megapixel macro sensor. On the front you have a 32 megapixel camera for selfies and HD video calling, which is there on this water drop notch. So now let's look into the camera features, the interface, and what you get with this phone and its camera process. So the thing over here is that you have this basic camera interface that you have. It's super friendly in terms of the features that's available, and you can easily maneuver around different features. You have all these options which are there, which is basically the super wide lens, which you can capture different kind of options, and then you can actually choose a bokeh mode also there, which lets you define background blur option and for a subject which you really need, if you actually really need. This is also the super macro mode, which is available on the phone's camera, available through the macro lens that's there at the back. And apart from that, you have this portrait mode, which lets you capture photos from a different perspective. You also have this night mode, and this is interesting because nowadays you click so many photos in low light, and Vivo is giving you the option by default, and it's letting you click pictures by choosing this night mode and defining the lighting elements that you want in an image. The photo resolution can be set into 4:3. It could be a full screen profile, and it could also be a 16:9 profile, and then you could have a 1:1 profile as well. So there are different aspects of photo that you can cover, and depending on where you want to share or where you want to capture and how you want to do this. So these are the rear camera features. Apart from this, you also have this more option, which really accelerates the whole process of the camera setup that you have at the back. You have this AI 48 megapixel camera. It basically uses the full capability of the 48 megapixel camera and gives you quality photos. Apart from that, you have the slow-mo, you have the time-lapse, you have the pano, you have the live photo, you have the pro mode as well. Pro mode is basically used for manually defining the ISO mode, your white balance, your autofocus, and also setting up the aperture speed depending on what you want. So these are the elements that you're looking for, and you have this zoom option also, which goes up to 2x digitally, and you can just tap on this and you can head back to the main interface. So it's quite sleek in terms of what it does, and it's quite nifty and feature loaded as well at the same time. So this is the rear camera. Now let's look at the front camera of the Vivo S1 Pro. This is a 32 megapixel sensor, as we talked about. This is a wide sensor, so you have the capability of defining your angles differently, and you can have a wider perspective. But apart from that, you have this bokeh mode, which lets you put in a background blur at the back, as you can see behind me right now. Then you have this beauty mode over here, which defines in terms of the posture that you want to set up for that particular subject. You have the face beauty, you have skin tones, you have face natural color beauty, and then delicate, and so many features that you get these days with selfie cameras. That's quite popular among people. Apart from that, you can also set the color balance in terms of what you're looking for, and then you can also define whether you want it in HDR mode or you want a different kind of color elements added with island mode, yogurt, macros, moonlight. So depending on what you're looking for, you can choose them and define their settings as and when you want manually. So these are the camera features of the S1 Pro. With the 32 megapixel selfie camera, quad rear camera setup, which includes a 48 primary sensor and an ultra wide sensor as well, you get a host of options in terms of the lenses that you get, which lets you play around and experiment with different kind of photos that you can actually click before sharing on social media. This is the camera features of the Vivo S1 Pro smartphone. For more videos, stay tuned to hindustantimes.com.